Okay, let's talk about what makes a major scale and a major key major. You'll notice when you sit down at a piano, actually, this is true for all instruments that are tuned to equal temperament tuning, that there's no black note between the E and the F, the third and fourth note of a C scale. And there's no black note between the B and the C, the seventh and the eighth, which actually, interestingly enough, are the two leading tones. And this is why that is. When we have two notes that are two notes apart, like in the first two notes of a major scale, we call that an interval of a major second. So when we talk about the distance between notes, we count the first note of the interval and the second note, and we name that note. So the first two notes of a major scale are a whole step apart. A whole step is when you skip a note. That's a whole step because we're skipping that note. That's a whole step because we're skipping that note. That's a whole step because we're skipping that note. When we go from any note to the next note, we call that a half step. That's a half step. That's a half step. Or a minor second. A half step is a minor second, and a whole step is a major second. So if we look between the first and second notes of our major scale, they're a major second apart. And if we look between our second and third notes of the scale, they're also a major second apart. Or a whole step, because we're skipping that note. But what happens when we look at the third and fourth note of a major scale? They're a half step apart. So we're going whole step, half step. And then if we look between the fourth and fifth note of a major scale, they're also a whole step or major second because we're skipping that note. Between the fourth and fifth note, between the fifth and sixth note, that's also a whole step. We're skipping between the sixth and seventh note. That's also a whole step. And between the seventh and eighth is a half step again. So what makes a major scale or a major key major is between the third and fourth notes of the scale or the key, and the seventh and eighth is a half step. So by doing this and showing the relationship of notes, we can start on any of the 12 notes and create a major scale by going whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. Or major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second. So let's start on any note. Let's start on an F and let's use this pattern. Whole step, half step between the third and fourth note of the scale. Then whole step. Notice we skipped a note. Whole step, and half step. In these classes, I'm going to take you through all 12 major and all 12 minor keys, as well as all the three different types of minors, and we're going to learn chord changes in all 24 keys. Right now, we're learning the basic scale in C major, and in our next class, we're going to learn the 7 chords in the C major key. So likewise, we can start on any note, and since music is about the relationship of the notes, we can create a major scale with any pitches. Let's start on a G. We'll go skip a note, don't skip a note. Skip a note, don't skip a note. We gotta skip a note, and then don't skip a note. So it's whole step, half step. Whole step, half step. And that's what gives us our major scale and our major chords and all that in the key, the chords inside of a major key. That's what gives them all of their relationships.